Hello and welcome to episode number 400 of Smart Podcast Trashy Books. I'm Sarah Wendell. I'm really excited that it's episode 400. And in this week's episode, we have a 4-podcast crossover with a lot of mayhem and jokes. Several members of the Frolic Podcast Network gathered last weekend for group mayhem and silliness, mostly for your collective amusement. Laura Von Holt from the Mermaid Podcast had the idea to do a group episode. And so in this one, we have me, Laura, Kelly from Boobies Noobies, and Kelsey and Zoë from Tea Strumpets. We get very silly, and we invite you to join us. We talk about a whole bunch of things. We tell jokes. I learn about ranch dressing and pizza is apparently a thing. I had no idea. We also talk about what we're doing to keep our happiness levels up, whether it's books or dancing or studying botany. You know, as you do. So I'm curious about you. What are you doing to keep your spirits up? What is making you happy, making you laugh? What joke would you like to share? Because you know I love them. You can email me at sbjpodcast@gmail.com, or you can call and leave me a message at 1-201-371-3272. I love hearing from you, and I hope you like this giant mayhem group episode as much as we had fun putting it together. I will have links to where you can find the other podcasts, of course, in the show notes, and I will have links to all of the books and funny things and Instagram accounts that we talk about. There's a lot. All of it will be in the show notes. Never worry. smartbitchestrashybooks.com/podcast. I have compliments in this episode, which is so fun. To Colleen M. When your friends need inspiration to be brave, they think of you first. And they also, when they need to laugh themselves silly, they think of you because you are hilarious. And to Sarah Ann, the steps that you've taken around your home and neighborhood spell out words that describe you perfectly, such as superb and utterly fabulous. If you would like a compliment of your very own, have a look at patreon.com/smartbitches. Monthly pledges start at $1. Every pledge is deeply appreciated, and a special hello and thank you to the Patreon community who, obviously, I would not have made 4,000. Oh my God, that's so funny. 400. 400. I would not have made it to 400 episodes without you. Thank you. This week's episode is brought to you by Lola. Lola is a female-founded company offering a line of organic cotton tampons, pads, liners, and cleansing wipes. They offer complete transparency about the ingredients found in their items, and they are 100% organic cotton with no added chemicals, fragrances, synthetics, or dyes. Here is how Lola works. Their goal is to make your month a little easier. The subscription is a fully customizable box where you can choose the mix of products, the mix of absorbency, the number of boxes, and the frequency of delivery. I was very impressed with the quality of the box that I received. And if you would like to give it a try, for 30% off your first month subscription, visit mylola.com and enter SmartPod when you subscribe. There are a lot of jokes in this episode, and of course I will end with yet another one at the end in the outro, which, as you know, is totally a word. And of course, I will have links to everything we talk about, and there are a lot of things to enjoy in this episode. So on with our 400th episode, a massive Frolic Podcast Network crossover with me, the Mermaid Podcast, Boobies Noobies, and Tea Strumpets. On with all of the podcasters. We are now recording. Yay! It's time for Mayhem. So welcome to the entirely weird and mayhem group podcast. We have many podcasters here, and we're all a little loopy because we've all been in the house a lot, with possibly with just a dog or many other humans. I am Sarah Wendell. I run Smart Podcast Trashy Books and Smart Bitches Trashy Books. And this whole thing was the idea of Laura, who is that way.
Hello.
That way for me.
Oh. I'm
there.
In my screen, I'm on top.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's fine. So this whole thing was the idea of Laura. So we are going to show up and try to make each other laugh, and hopefully make our people who will be listening laugh too, right?
Yes.
All right, Laura.
So I take
it away.
Thank you. I take full responsibility for anything that's about to happen. No, it's my fault. So I thought, since we are the Frolic Podcast Network, which I'm excited to be a part of, and we have all of these cool, funny podcasts full of people who like books and romance and pop culture and gossip, that it would be so here we are in these weird quarantine times, right? And I read a lot of like historical romance, but also historical fiction. And whenever it's World War II, I'm like stressing because I'm like, I don't know what my role would be. I'm not good at austerity, and I'm like not good at secrets. And like, so I don't know. But
I just finished a book where there was a cholera outbreak. The cholera epidemic was happening in the book, and there were so many little things in the book where I was like, well, that's also happening now. That's not really very reassuring.
And Sarah and I just read a book where the main character pretends to have consumption for the novel.
Yes, not the most, how do you want to say, sympathetic thing I've ever seen a heroine do, but not her fault. Clearly our setting, right?
Yeah.
Like, it just happens, guys. Like, pestilence is like a human thing. Okay. So, but then when all of this started to go down and I was home and I was like, oh wait, I have a podcast. I was like, okay, no, I know my role now in the wartime. It is part of a covert wartime radio show.
Awesome.
Yes.
So that's when I messaged Sarah and was like, let's do a big Frolic episode where we're all together for the network and the resistance or something. Which is just like, the resistance in this case is just like your own viral resistance and your own immunity system, but like still together big for the country. Yes. So my idea, and also I always wanted to be in the USO, but they would never take me. So this is also like how we are gonna combine the USO, our wartime network, and entertain the people while they are at home, while also introducing them to all of our podcasts because they should know about that. So my idea for this is that we would tell a joke and then, or maybe give something that was like making us laugh or helping us in like the boredom of and the weirdness that we live in now. If we are lucky enough to be at home. And also, I think we should give a big shout out to all of our essential workers right now who are making it safe for us to be at home. All of our nurses and doctors and hospital staff and grocery workers and the liquor store, bless them.
Bless up.
Yeah. Bless.
If you could only see the bottle of gin that I walked through the liquor store cradling like a baby. And I found it, and there were only 2 left, so I took one. My husband's like, "Did you find the gin?" And I'm like holding it like an infant. Like, yes, I found the gin.
And that's so good of you. You only took one and left one for somebody else.
That's nice.
I will not hoard gin. That is not the right way. Besides, it was a lot of gin. If I took all that gin, I would really not be in good shape. It's a really big bottle.
So can I tell a quick pertinent story,
Please.
Of the times? Because so yesterday, my husband and I were arguing over the grocery order because he said, well, this is really expensive. And we just did a grocery order. And I was like, trying to get a lot of sugar, which is hard to get right now, but we feed Orioles, like we feed birds with the sugar. And I'm like really worried that like these like birds that only come around this time of the year won't have their food. So I was like, we need to get like a couple of bags of sugar so we can make sure that the Orioles have their food. And he was like, well, it's really expensive and there's not even like any proteins on this order. And then like at that same time, a delivery arrives for him, which is like 6 bottles of bourbon. And I was like, excuse me? And I can't get my sugar for the Oriole.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. So anyhow, we got the sugar.
So you won that argument.
Yeah.
Thank you, bourbon delivery
Is there protein in your bourbon choice, sir? I'm not sure.
I mean, he tried to argue that like, it's for a long time and you got to order enough for delivery and whatever.
We are not impressed.
No.
That's this
you would totally
right
the bourbon totally won that for you.
I also think it's weird what you stock up on. Like when the panic part of my brain turned on as I was grocery shopping, like aside from toilet paper, I got like an Amazon pantry delivery a few weeks ago and I had bought like jugs of ranch dressing and sweet tea powder. And I was like, I live in a Manhattan apartment. Like there's not really room for like jugs.
So it's like this big, right?
It's a postage stamp. And like, so I'm like, how long am I going to be here with all this ranch dressing?
Of all the things, ranch dressing. That
That made me feel better. Yeah.
In the quarantine times, we have acquired a pizza stone and a waffle maker. So, and now we wonder what took us so long to get the waffle maker, but those have been our things. And then like the ingredients we keep trying to get for both of those things, and whenever we have them, we make it. But it is funny, like the things that all of a sudden you decide are like, you should have that. Like, why don't I have that thing?
Would you like a really good recipe?
Yes.
So
for ranch dressing or just
no, I don't. I have no suggestions for the ranch dressing. I was just sitting there like, how many carrots is that? Like that many bottles of ranch dressing? How many bags of carrots? No, for the waffle maker, there's a really cool cookbook called Will It Waffle, and one of the recipes we got from Will It Waffle is falafels. They are falafel in the waffle maker.
Ooh.
And the recipe is super good. It's mostly staples, like you use dried chickpeas, parsley, garlic, tahini, that kind of thing.
But because you
right, I have a PDF of the recipe. I will send it to you.
Awesome.
Because you put the falafel dough, the falafel batter in the waffle maker, and then you cook it in the waffle maker, it gets really crispy little squares, and then you can put the toppings on top of the piece of falafel that has all this like space for extra stuff. It is so good. Like when we make falafels at home,
oh my gosh,
all of the members of my house, including the picky eaters, are like on board. We have to make a recipe and a half.
Oh my gosh.
And then it's like, and they're gone. They're so good. I'll send you the recipe.
And Zoe, if you need something that's way less healthy than that, tater tots on your waffle iron.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
I saw a video of someone doing that where they made a tater tot waffle. And then when I went to the store last Monday, I bought tater tots.
Yeah. That's a good thing to buy.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because half the time when you go to the freezer section, there are no vegetables in the freezer section. So this last time I went, it's very interesting because I go to the grocery store Olive once a week now. And every time I go, there's some things I can find. And then the next time they're gone.
Yeah.
So like this time I found more veggies in the freezer section. So I bought tater tots because I was like, these I can put in the freezer. And I bought French fries because I was like, these I can also put in the freezer.
Right.
French fries.
Yeah. But then this time I went and I couldn't find any oatmeal at all versus the last time I could find oatmeal.
Is this like the quarantines in World War II where like you'd go to the store and there'd be no lipstick and then you'd go to the store and there'd be no shoe polish?
That's what it feels like for me because every time I go, there's like a new section that's empty.
Yes,
but I don't know which one it's going to be.
Yes.
And different things at different stores too, because I've gone to multiple stores and gotten bread there, but other places they have no bread and other places it's eggs and milk.
I went to one grocery store just because I go to one specific store where I buy like all the meat I get because they just usually have a better selection and the quality's a little bit better. So that's where we choose to buy it. And I passed their section because I was like, I'm literally just here for meat. That's what I'm buying here because everything else is more expensive there. But they had eggs. And then I was I'll just get those at Safeway. And then I went to Safeway and Safeway only had like the tiny cart. They had like 3 more tiny cartons of eggs. I was like, well, should have gotten it at the other grocery store, but I'm not going there again for another week. So
I think the moral of the story is that like basically we are all pioneers now. It's like the Oregon Trail game, and it's just with like with the waffle iron. Like we're doing better than like dysentery and like all of that. But
we have enough toilet paper anyway.
Yeah. But it's like, no, you have to think of yourself as like a pioneer survivor and you
pretty much
get the supplies.
It's also a treasure hunt. I show up from the grocery store and I'm like, well, I couldn't get this, but babe, look what else I was able to find.
I feel like it really is like the Oregon Trail too. Cause like when you played the Oregon Trail, you always had that one stupid item in your wagon that you were like, I shouldn't bring a piano, but like, I really want to bring a piano.
What if you need it?
Yeah. Like, do I need 8 more sets of clothes? I don't know. Maybe food would serve me better.
Or ranch dressing. You could also get ranch dressing.
Yeah,
there it is.
I think the logic for that was that I had gotten a bunch of frozen pizza and I was thinking, what if I'm really drunk and I want ranch dressing on my frozen pizza? Like these like the activities at home.
Wait, those are things you do together?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Ranch dressing on pizza, especially frozen pizza, because frozen pizza is not the
blender. Right. Yeah.
That's okay.
So,
garbage pizza is better than no pizza.
Yeah. So ranch dressing on pizza and frozen pizza, especially, elevates it. It's just a whole culinary thing. Yeah.
Well, and now you can just put some pizza on top of your ranch dressing.
Yes. And it's going to be just like, I'm going to start making it like a little sauce. I'm going to be like a Michelin chef and just be like a little sauce on everything.
So after this airs, if there's a ranch dressing shortage, we know why.
It's my
fault. It's Laura's fault. Oh,
yeah.
My mind is blown.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having homemade pizza tonight.
But you haven't heard about ranch dressing.
No, I have never. Heard, oh my god! We're making homemade pizza tonight, and I'm like,
that's just on the side, a little dip. I learned it from a friend who's from Detroit, and I guess that's how she always ate pizza. And definitely when we would be like going out to bars together, and then having your your like nightcap slice before you stumble home. Yeah.
The first time I put ranch dressing on pizza in front of my husband, he's not from America, and he was like, "What American thing are you doing right now?" He's like, "I think that's the most American thing I've seen. Ranch dressing on everything."
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
He's not.
That's like a diplomatic incident waiting to happen. Oh my gosh.
All right, should we we've already told some jokes. Also, I just realized that none of us introduced ourselves really, so
we're just talking. It's fine.
It's fine. But do you guys want to tell jokes now? Because I want to tell my
story. Tell your joke.
Okay, but the rule of the jokes is that if one of us says a joke that says like, "Why does blah blah blah," or "What does blah blah blah," you all have to say "Why," or like "What."
Okay.
So
Tough
it's
rules.
like
who's there?
Who exactly? Thank
Big
you.
response. Got it.
So that I'm not like, "Oh no, I'm going to get yanked off the stage." Okay.
Crickets.
So I run the Mermaid Podcast, which is about mermaids.
Wait. So you run a podcast about mermaids and ranch dressing.
Now it's going to be the ranch dressing podcast.
Yes, dude. I'm pretty sure that would be a massive hit.
Actually, one of my favorite games is like, can I play 6 Degrees of Mermaids and relate anything to to connect two things, like
totally
interesting to mermaids? And I'm like, I bet I could. Ranch dressing goes on salad. Salad can be made out of seaweed. Mermaids eat seaweed. There you go.
Oh my
doesn't even need to be
God,
five.
that's my mind blown.
Yeah, there you go. It's really good at this. Okay, but yeah, so I read the Mermaid Podcast, so I had to think of like a really like a mermaid joke for you. So I consulted actually with a friend of mine who is a professional comic, and I was like, "How's this?" And then she okayed it.
Did homework.
I did homework. I was like, "This is wartime. You have to bring your A game." Okay. So the joke that she okayed, it goes like this: Why was the mermaid embarrassed?
Why?
Because she saw the ship's bottom.
He touched the butt.
Yeah,
I thought of too.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's me,
Okay.
Laura Von Holt, Mermaid Podcast.
All right, Laura, who's next?
I'm going to go with Kelly.
Okay. I do have a joke.
Wait, what's your podcast? What's your podcast name?
Oh yeah, me. So I'm Kelly. I host Boobies and Noobies, and it's a romance novel review podcast where I ask mostly people that have never read a romance novel to read their first one with me. Although there's some familiar faces here that have been on the podcast that have definitely read a romance novel.
When I was on Boobies and Noobies, I said I had amnesia. That way I don't remember any of the books I've ever read ever.
It works out perfectly. And you know what? Usually when we have people that have read them, I still try to find something that maybe is like a trope that they haven't read or like a style they haven't read. So yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Okay, so what's your joke?
Okay. So it's so funny. I wish I could say I came up with this myself, but I have been following the romance author, Robin Beelman on Twitter, and she has been posting a joke every day just to kind of like brighten, the Twitter feed. And so this, I think, was my favorite one that she shared a couple days ago. So what did the fisherman say to the magician?
What?
What?
Pick a cod, any cod.
Oh, God. This is so amazing.
It's so good.
Oh,
It's
gosh.
So good.
Oh, God. She's got so many more, too. So if you
So
feel like
good.
you need a joke a day to just brighten your day, Robin Beelman.
Yes. That was really good.
Zoe, do you want to go next?
Sort of. Kelsey and I are sort of together because we share a
Perfect.
podcast.
Okay.
We did not bring like a joke per se. Because we're bad and like we should have just like Googled one, and I'm sorry that we didn't. But like we were talking about this beforehand and we're like, what do we do? But we were both talking about some funny memes that we've seen recently that like just really bring a smile to our face. But I think Kelsey maybe had something also before that, right?
Oh yeah. First off, because this is an hour of mayhem, I wanted to give a pro tip, guys.
Yeah, we didn't talk about our podcast.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
our
tell your
podcast,
podcast.
for everyone who doesn't know, is Tea and Strumpets. So from the
Such a
host
great
of
name.
Tea and Strumpets, we're going to give you a pro tip. Your teacup can also be your wine glass.
Oh my God, that
Perfect.
goes along with ranch dressing. Mind blowing life tip.
And Kelsey, if you keep your bottle in one hand and your teacup in the other, you won't be able to touch your face.
That's
There
also
you
true.
Oh.
Yes. And on Tea and Strumpets, we also review romance novels, but we do just like Regency, historical, Victorian. Like we're stuck in Europe talking about that time because that's like all that Kelsey and I really love to read. We're just like stuck in our little zone.
Yeah,
but we
That's
love
true.
it there.
I like to venture out for werewolves and vampires once in a
Yeah.
while, but
Uh-huh.
I really like to live in my historical bubble, which is fine.
Yes.
Also, when there's werewolves in historical bubbles, like that's why I really like the Gail Carringer series of Parasol Protectorates.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I made pesto at home the other day, and all I could think about was the parasol protector and how
Yeah.
pesto is the so pesto, for anyone who doesn't know and hasn't read these books, is the ultimate stopper of evil paranormal creatures.
It's like
because
kryptonite,
garlic
right?
in
Yeah.
pesto repels the vampires, but it turns out werewolves are allergic to basil. So it is the perfect combination
Wow.
to ward off your vampires and your werewolves, because neither one of them can stand the other.
Yeah.
That
Who
is so
knew?
funny.
So pesto, guys.
Pesto, Also, garlic is really like antimicrobial or antiviral, so maybe it's also good for the quarantine times.
And it
Yeah.
tastes good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're super into it.
But yes, as far as other funny things I've seen, and I've been feeling this personally because I'm in California and we had a lot of sun in February, which meant everything started to bloom and spring very rapidly because we had crazy warm weather and no rain.
Yep.
So allergy season's been really bad, guys. So what I've seen on the internet, which is the best, is the new 2020 game is plague or pollen. Explain your sneeze.
Perfect.
It's so good. It's like a game show.
I know. I read it and I was like, I connect
Yeah.
with this so hard because I did. I was at work and I work with animals. I work in the outside and I was sneezing, but it's because I was with dust and pollen and animals. And I was like, I hope no one thinks I'm sick. It was
Yeah.
just a sneeze, I swear.
I'm in New York, and they, for the first time, have let restaurants deliver alcohol, which was never a thing. So I was very excited and got some takeout margaritas, and was so thrilled to have like a restaurant margarita. Like I almost cried, and I'd ordered 2 big ones to like just in case. You know, I mean, you have to stock
Yeah.
up.
There you
And
go.
then I got very excited and was on like a Zoom call with friends and drank them, and was like, oh no, oh no.
Is
And
that
then-
why the ranch dressing happened?
No, that did not previously happen. That was just
okay.
a panic. That was just a panic insomnia purchase. But the next morning I woke up and I was like, oh God, my throat. Oh God, my head. Oh my God, I have COVID. And then I was like, no. Remember, this is a hangover.
Hungover.
Seriously.
So,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
that's also the like the dangerous game that we play, like drinking alone in my apartment.
So I had one more meme that I wanted to share, which is like, it's the favorite one that I have come across of this whole times. And there are some good memes right now. Like this is definitely it, but it's the one about Gaston And it's
Oh,
no one cleans like Gaston.
Quarantines like Gaston.
No one stops spreading COVID-19 like Gaston. So, and like, if anybody's listened to our podcast, I don't think that I, or maybe Kelsey also could love Beauty and the Beast more. So like, oh my God, that made me laugh so hard, and it gets in my head all the time now. So, I mean, I feel like someone needs to write out the whole song. Like, oh yeah, he's no longer expectorating, things like that. There's just, there's something there. And yeah, I love it. That, and I also saw yesterday that, someone posted a thing about how they totally get how our meme culture is like how, people in Victorian times wrote like songs about the plague, like bring around the rosy kind of thing. And it is it is kind of mind blowing. Like that is how we're using memes right now to like make light of it and have
laugh through our pain.
Yes.
Also, Gaston is totally the guy that like went to Florida for spring break and was like, if I get it, I get it.
Right?
And then like went to his grandmother's birthday party.
I mean, Gaston is like irredeemable in my eyes. I'm not a Gaston fan, but like that's very clever and I love it very much.
100%.
I love that there's so many songs that people are rewriting the lyrics to right now. Like I've seen so many different covers of so many different songs, but done. My favorite, I think, is the video that people made that was the main song, One Day More from Les Mis.
From Les Mis. Mm-hmm.
And it's just the family and the kids.
Yeah, and it's people in all these different locations and like they're holding their dogs and like blankets over there. It's everything.
I didn't see that one. I saw a different One Day More with a whole family of like from the UK, and they got their kids all singing it, and they had really funny lyrics. So now we're gonna have to switch links because I need to see her.
Okay. Yeah, I like that Les Mis is the one that's going around.
Well, Les Mis is great.
It fits, right?
It's epic. It's got sad times, it's got hard times, and they come through at the end. Well, most of them do.
Some of them. Like there's a part, if you have a large family, there's a part for like everyone to sing. They're like, oh, okay, I can hit this range and I can like do this harmony. So yeah, it's like
for sure.
Yeah, that's why it works. Yeah,
totally.
I mean, I feel like show tunes is just like a whole other stage too. Of when like I was listening to regular music and now I'm just listening to show tunes while I'm working at home, and it's like, oh yeah, this is a whole level, and I'm into this. So like.
Show tunes are my life. That's like 90% of my iPod because I still listen to an iPod.
Yeah. Oh,
I wouldn't even know where one was. I know I had one at some point, but who knows?
I'm very impressed, but I am also a show tunes gal, but for literally the past 3 years, I've just had one album on repeat, and it's the only one I listen to this day. It's Hamilton. Sorry. I just can't always want to listen to it. And I know that there's so many other good ones. Like I really want to like get into Hadestown. Like there's been a lot since Hamilton, but like,
if you're going to pick one, if you're going to pick one to stick to, Hamilton is a great one.
It's also great. I have been on also a musical person. And I haven't yet watched it because the first night I went to go watch it, I realized we had to actually like plug in the DVD player. So, oops.
At least you didn't have to find a VCR,
Yeah, no, that was good. Yeah, at least I didn't have to find a VCR. I just had to plug in a DVD player. But I've just been really craving the Music Man. Because if anything just makes you happy in a sad time, it's the Music Man.
But like original one, right? Not the Matthew Broderick one. Okay, got it.
No, I'm sorry. I had a very heated discussion with my friends about this one. They're like, but the Matthew Broderick one. I was like, no. Robert Preston. Sorry.
Yep, it's the best.
Sorry.
It's so good.
I don't know what you're talking about. I refuse.
My favorite part of that movie is like the one Grecian urn. Or like the ladies have a tableau and they just like switch positions. And
Grecian urn.
Yeah.
I performed in the Music Man in high school, and that's who I played, the mayor's wife.
So good.
No way.
Take a little, talk a little, cheep, cheep, cheep.
Yeah.
It's the best role of my life.
But like, can we just like have just a moment? I still don't understand Shapoopy.
It's just happy. It's just
also
heavy
really
side.
witty and sometimes like is in your head for a week. I mean, it just happens. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious from Mary Poppins. You're like, why do we need this? No, but I'm here for it.
Super here for it. Anyhow, I was also in the music band, but I was just chorus. So good times though. Good
times.
Musical theater times. But I think Sarah owes us a joke still.
Okay. Yes, Sarah. I'm so excited.
Oh God, the pressure.
No. Because I have a story to tell you after you tell your joke about a joke that you told that I still remember.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I end every episode with a really bad joke.
Exactly.
Like your reward for listening to the outro is you get a really, really terrible. Now people are starting to send me terrible jokes, which is like the greatest email. Oh, it's awesome. But I like become like a connoisseur of them, and I like torture my family. How bad is this? They're like, oh, that's not bad enough. It's pretty bad, but that's not bad enough. All right, so this is I polled the fam, and the fam has voted for the following. This is my favorite bad joke. Okay,
perfect.
So a pirate walks into a bar, and the bartender says, "Excuse me, sir, do you know that you have a ship's wheel sticking out of the front of your pants?" And the pirate says, "Arr, it's driving me nuts." It's so dumb, right?
Oh, that's fantastic, though.
Oh, good. I'm just imagining like, like to the northwest, 5 knots.
It's driving me nuts.
Oh, wow.
I was really waiting.
Sorry.
I wasn't sure where that was going to go, and that wasn't what I was seeing.
Yeah.
No, you can never predict where that joke's going to go.
Good.
I'm glad you liked it.
Good. The joke that I almost told, but then I was like, what if Sarah wants to use her own Cher's joke?
Oh, God.
It's I don't know why this is the one that's stuck in, because I listen to the jokes at the end of your podcast all the time. But this is the one that like one day I was like, oh, yeah. And I'm probably going to remember it wrong, but I'll try to tell it. So the joke that I remember is, what happens when you smack Dwayne Johnson on the bum?
What?
You've hit rock bottom.
Oh my gosh.
I would argue you'd hit the top of the mountain on that one.
Oh, yeah. But there you go. You're right. For me, it would be a reach up. I'd be like a slap.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So that, I don't know, that's the one that really stuck in my mind, Sarah. So, yeah.
I like that that's the one that's stuck with you.
Yeah. I don't know why.
One. Yeah.
I don't know why.
It's a
It's
mystery.
a good visual.
I think sometimes I kind of know where they're going, and I'm like, oh, I see it coming. And this one I was like, never.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I have to ask, have any of you been watching Tiger King?
No, I'm not yet. I mean, I
guys,
get nervous. What?
Then I'm not
my
going to
friend
share.
turned me on to the best show ever.
What? Kelsey, what?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a really big fan of like uplifting British reality TV.
Love.
Yeah, right? I'm assuming we're all a fan of the Great British Bake Off. Assuming.
Yes, go ahead.
Assuming. So she turned me on. So it's called the Great Pottery Throwdown. And it's the same premise, but they're potters and they have to make things out of clay.
Oh.
And you can find 3 seasons of it on YouTube.
Yes, so comforting. That's so comforting.
And I watched 3 episodes last night. She told me about this and I was like, yes, this is the kind of uplifting TV in my life right now. This is all I need.
Yes. Let me tell you, you're probably getting much different feelings out of that than you will out of Tiger King. So that's good.
Tiger King is like, I can understand the allure of it, but I think it is one of those things that I know that I will ultimately not be able to look away from and also hate watching. So like, I'm like, that's not the feeling I'm looking for right now. So
you're looking for feel-good British reality TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched Monty Don on Gardener's World. The new season just started. It's lovely.
That's what John needs to watch.
That's
I told
what we
him
need.
He needed to watch. He was like, where does Zoe get all her gardening advice? And I was like, she watches some British gardener. I think it's Monty Don from that other show you've been watching.
Yes. Love it. Oh, you guys have the best recommendations. Like, this is great. This sounds so peaceful.
You know what else is on YouTube is British Bake Off Junior.
Oh,
which is like, okay, so you know how there's the one show with Gordon Ramsay and he yells at people a lot? But then
and
there's
then when-
Master Chef Junior, and he's like the
I watched that one.
The
kindest, like super adorable
grandfather?
cooking
Like,
dad.
yeah.
Yeah, like okay, it's gonna be
Yeah.
all right. This is fun, and he's gonna yell at some grown up like, "This looks like Gandhi's flip flop. Where's the lamb sauce?" Like, okay, you spilled everything on the floor. We're gonna make this work. We're all good. So it's that, only even more. Like, you take that sort of affectionate, loving, sort of gentleness, and then you mix it with the Bake Off. So do you remember? I'm gonna have to look this up because I'm afraid I'm going to get it wrong. I want to say it's Liam Junior Bake Off. Do I win a prize for being the first person during the recording to have to Google something?
Yes.
I hope I get
a big prize.
You get a bottle of ranch dressing.
Yes.
Good. I'm having pizza. Rush it over. Do you remember Liam from season 8? He was he's super adorable, and so Prue is one of the judges, and then there's this weird comedian who wears these really long collars. I don't quite understand it, but Liam was in the 8th season. He was super adorable. Everyone loved him, so he's one of the judges, and he totally bonds with these kids. And they do 2 sets. So there's the first set of kids and the second set of kids, and they get it down to I think 4, and then they join them together to get to the end. And
Cute.
Sick adorableness, like just absolutely precious, like the best moments of Bake Off just distilled, and then with adorable children making adorable things.
Yes.
And I follow some of the winners of the last season on Instagram. So like Bakes by Amal, here's Amal in her kitchen, and she's making this cake that is just like absolutely off the chain gorgeous with like macarons and everything, and I'm like, this is
So, but here's the question
about the juniors, though, is like they're incredible talent. Sorry, Zoe. I know.
No, it's fine. I just needed to know if they have shorter countertops or step stools.
They have both, I think.
Okay. Because adorable idea of like the countertops being like smaller, like also is awesome. But then like also all of them on step stools also is like really cute. So I just don't know. It just sounds.
And then the older kids help the younger kids put their aprons on because they can't figure out how to tie. So there's always footage of them running around and tying each other's aprons on. I'll help you. It's okay. All right, hold on. I'll hold your hair. It's okay. And then if like something happens, they all rush over to help the other person. It's
feel good British reality TV. This is all I want in my life.
It is.
Plus, I'm sure they all have adorable British accents, which is like, that's enough. That's enough for me.
And there are some kids who are from parts of England where the accent is very, very specific. And I'm like, this is amazing. I've never heard this accent on television before. Like, please, this is incredible. It's so cool. Because I forget, we only get like a small portion of the regional variation of British accents. And then you get to some very specific locations like, whoa, we are speaking the same language, except not at all.
We're speaking the same language, but I don't understand a word you're saying.
That's right. Not a one. It's so good. It's so good.
I feel like whenever I go to Scotland, I'm like back in like the Middle Ages times, like before the Great Vowel Shift. And I'm like, oh no, I'm from the future.
Before the Great Vowel Shift. You're the only other person I know who talks about the Great Vowel Shift.
So, like, it's true though, because I've heard people be like, oh, I'll read Shakespeare or Chaucer as it like sounded, and I'm like, that's Scottish.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Every time that we have to like read a Scottish sentence from one of our books, like it is, you'd think that one day we'd go and like try to practice a little bit of the Scottish accent, but like, for goodness sakes, we never do. And it's always just like this laughing incident where we try to read the quote and neither of us can like even say like, "Ugh, no," or "Ugh, nay," or however you say it.
Dinner.
Like,
Dinner.
Yeah.
The meal comes after lunch.
Yeah.
Dinner. Yeah.
I always practice it when I read Scottish romance because I have to like try to understand what they're trying to say. So like the one phrase that I've caught on to is, I dinna ken. I don't know. And I don't know why it's that, but it is.
Does anyone watch out? Oh, sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, does anybody watch Outlander? Because I feel like their accents have gotten like thinner as like the seasons have gone.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's because like they're in America or like
season.
Well, that's the only
I
season
do hear
to
they're
watch.
in America now.
They're in America. I don't know why. I didn't read this far in the books. Yeah, it's our fault. I didn't read this part of the books. I don't know why in America. I just want them to go back to like riding horses and having sex in Scotland. And then I realized that's why the entire like Scottish historical romance subgenre exists, because like Outlander went other places and you're like, no, go back to the more.
I love a good Scottish historical romance.
I do when I can understand what they're saying.
That's true. Sometimes you really can't.
Yeah, I feel like there's a delicate balance of writing those, of like using enough Scottish stuff to like make it have that flavor, and then also not like intimidating or like irritating to the reader. But I think that's like a lot of historical romance. Like, how much do you want to put in there to like make it feel like it's of that period, and how much do you want to like not talk about, because we know everybody had syphilis, but that's not romantic. So
we know there's garbage and bodies in the Thames. We don't need to highlight that.
Yeah, but she did fall at the Thames, and then he pulled her out, and then she got a fever, and that's sexy, right?
Oh yeah,
perfect.
I do wonder like what dating's going to be like when the quarantines are over, because I live in New York. I'm like, are we all going to be like, did you have it? Did you not have it? Like,
oh yeah. Did you hear
virus experience? Like,
did you hear that like dating apps are up like 20% as of quarantine? Yeah, because people are like stuck at home, and you know, they're like, well, I don't want this to stop me from like meeting people.
It's also gone back. I heard someone say they did like a Skype date where they like watched a movie at the same time over Skype. And I was like, I did that 10 years ago in college.
Yeah.
I also read about a couple.
It was cool.
Yes. I read about a couple who got in their own cars and met at a restaurant and got takeout, and then parked their cars so that they were facing opposite directions and could just talk through the windows.
Yeah.
So they were the appropriate distance, having their meal together from the same restaurant, but in their own cars. I was like, people are so ingenious.
There's a guy in Brooklyn who like, he's been on TikTok because he saw like a girl across dancing on her rooftop. So
I saw that.
And then like he put himself in a bubble and walked over to her house so they could like go on a date. And they got stopped by the cops for not being too close. But then the cop is like, oh, I saw you on the news, so you can like keep having your date.
It was cute.
Yeah,
it was cute. I'm really rooting for them.
Yeah. Very. I mean, I that was another meme that I saw where it was like men, you're gonna have to like revert back to the 19th century and actually like woo a woman and send her letters. You know, you're gonna have to get creative. So maybe I should go on the dating app. I just was like, I was afraid that like I would only feel comfortable enough to like date someone in my building, but then that would like ruin my building for me.
Yeah, that's like getting your sausage where you get your bacon.
I don't want to do that.
No.
So I do.
You know what's going to happen? We're going to go back to like historical romance fan language. Like we're going to have to signal each other.
Oh,
like putting notes on the right. We're going to have our fans like, I don't want to talk to you. We'll have like flower code. Like, whichever flower means like, please fuck off and die. Like, yeah, but we'll have like, wait, is there cursing on y'all's podcast? Because there's
fine,
okay, good. I was going to say, I just
romance novels and sex stuff.
Yeah.
So like,
yes, but it's also the genre of a million euphemisms. So we're going to bring back like fan language and flower language so we can communicate from a distance. Like, no, I do not wish to speak with you. Fan left, swiping left now. Goodbye.
My question is, how long is it going to take until we have like our first COVID-19 quarantine romance novel? Like, because I know that like
10 minutes ago.
10 minutes.
Right. Like I for sure have read some fan fiction already that's like trying to make quarantine sexy.
I think I started to write something to like as something for my newsletter, so that like a scene of like one of my couples and what they're doing in quarantine, but they're like already together. So it's just like,
that's cute. I like that idea.
Thank you. Yeah, I like it too. I mean, it's really fun. It's really just my own dystopian fantasies that I just projected onto a couple.
Perfect.
Perfect.
We need that. We need that at this time.
Yeah.
I just found one. Don't Fucking Kiss Me, a quarantine-themed bonus novella. Catherine Evans. I like that one. That's a really good title.
That's a great title.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
I feel like Chuck Tingle's got to write something.
Oh, totally.
You know there's going to be a Tingler.
Yeah.
What would be your like romance quarantine novella title if you ladies wrote one?
Well, I was trying to figure out what to name my scene, and I couldn't, because I was like, love in the time of COVID is going to be taken, so I'm not going to like
everybody's that one like rolls right off the tongue, you know.
Yeah.
It's a good one though.
Yeah.
Coronalingus.
Ooh,
Yes.
that's good.
There we go. That's what I like to hear.
The end of social distancing.
I think
I throw in the towel.
I don't like. I was even trying to make like a mermaid pun, but I haven't like gotten that. Like, I don't know. No.
something in the sea, like fish in the sea, more fish in the sea, something.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Big D in COVID.
Yeah. Oh my God, Sarah, it's like you're a professional.
Yeah.
I think mine is not going to come out as well, but it would be something like, send me pizza and maybe we'll talk.
Yeah.
Very romantic.
6 feet away or we're together forever.
Yeah. Oh, you know what would be a good one? Because there's those memes that are like, pretend like you're in a Jane Austen movie and you can't like get close to each other.
Yeah.
And it would just be like, no, we mustn't. No, we mustn't. Yeah.
Together, apart.
Yes. Oh, that's a heartfelt, like, so you're walking on a beach kind of one. There's a dog in a beach chair. That's good.
It's where they wave to each other from across the beach.
Yes. I thought it's so good. My prediction, I have a prediction for beauty trends, but that will also go into romance because I was thinking like in New York now they're telling us to wear like face masks all the time.
I made some today.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, like you need different skincare because it's like if it's hot, it's going to get sweaty. And then I was like, oh, like all the beauty trends will be like a bold eye instead of a bold lip.
Ooh.
And my friend was telling me, she's like, yeah, I live in Dubai and like people will get professionally makeup done because they're already wearing like a face covering. So they have their eye makeup done professionally and then go to the mall. And I was like, yeah, that's like, we're going to probably let's borrow that. And then I was like,
all those paper masks,
yes,
like the Korean beauty masks,
yes,
they're just going to be like
down
here. And
yes.
you can legitimately walk out of the house wearing them.
Exactly. And then I was thinking, only like your most intimate friends or family will see your lip color. So there'll be this like whole like sexy reveal, like we wear a trench coat, open it, and it's lingerie. Yes,
It's gonna be the new ankle.
yes, exactly. And it's gonna be like it's gonna be like a code. Like, do you take off your face mask? And if it's a nude lip, you want to make out, but if you have a bold lip, you're like, stay away. We mustn't. Yes.
Well, there's the romance novella right there. You just wrote it.
Yeah. Like the I show up.
If the mask like hits the wind and they can just see the outline of her hard on because he's like, oh, I could just see the outline of her lip.
Yeah.
Is she winking or is it just pollen?
Yeah. Oh my God. That's so good. And then you'll be like, does that guy have a beard? I don't even know.
He does now.
Yeah, he does.
He does now.
You can't get a good seal with a beard.
Yeah. Oh.
I say that and my husband totally has a beard and that beard's not going away.
So what are you all doing like to keep yourselves sane while you're home? Like what are your sanity, trying to keep your life normal tips for yourself or for others? Because I've got a couple, so I was curious what everybody else has.
I want to hear yours.
Yeah, I want to hear yours.
Okay, so thanks. No, I'm just kidding. But so actually, the first one is actually thanks to Kelly because Kelly recommended dancing with Mark K. I can't pronounce his name, on Instagram. He's a guy that was on So You Think You Can Dance. I totally watched every season of So You Think You Can Dance, not recent ones, but the old ones. So I saw his season. And he was also one of Lady Gaga's backup dancers. And every single day of the week for the last 3 weeks at 2 p.m., Mark does a live dance session for 20 minutes.
It's so much fun.
It's gotten me like up and doing exercise, which I haven't been for the past few months because I haven't been feeling so great. And so like, it just like, it's so fun. You don't have, and he's like so positive. And he's always like, you're here. Every new breath is like a chance to start over. Like you're doing great. He's like so positive, so fun. And then he usually does like a warm up, which is pretty easy. And then he'll do a dance and everything is like sets of 4. And it's simple things like, this and this. And you can totally dance along with him, but it's like, it is a workout and it's fun and it's like great music. And then like at the end, it's just like a dance party for a song usually. And it's
so fun.
So fun.
So
Are you
cool.
actually dancing along with him? I mean, I have literally like the last 7 days I have done it. So thank you for turning me on to that. And
I'm so glad you like it. Yeah. Most days I do it too. And he's very chill about it too. Like he'll say, follow my moves if you want, or else just like dance your ass off, whatever. And then at the end, he throws on a wig and, throws confetti in the air like a boss. And it's so much fun. It just definitely, I love that it's in the middle of the day too. Like it's 2 p.m. Pacific, so 5 p.m. Eastern. And it just definitely gives you a nice little boost.
Totally.
I have had so much fun dancing with him. Like he is a bright spot of my day. And because he does something a little different every day, it's new. And so you always are like, well, what song is it going to be today? Or what dance? And yesterday I encountered a dance that I'd done already with him. And I was like, yeah, I know this one. Like I'm rocking out to it, like, so yeah, I really can't recommend it more. And if you just like search like Mark K Instagram dancing, like a bunch of articles will pop up. And
I can say though, one of the things that I learned from the book Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski, who also do the Feminist Survival Project 2020 podcast, which is part of the Frolic Network, is that dancing and getting up and moving around actually completes the stress cycle of your body, so that your body has I didn't know this until I read this book, but your body has a process that it goes to when it reacts to stress. And there's all these chemicals and things that go up and down, and that's part of what where the fight or flight like response comes from. Mm-hmm. But so if you're having like a really stressful day at work, and then you deal with the person who's giving you stress, you have dealt with the cause of the stress. You've dealt with that person, but you haven't dealt with the stress in your body. But getting up to dance or take a walk or make something or just, dance around your kitchen, that actually completes the stress cycle of your body and gives you all these nice, lovely chemicals with which to like bathe your brain with joy. So the idea that it helps is like totally scientifically grounded, which I think is so great because I need a reason to dance around my kitchen like a complete goober. Like every day.
Yeah. No, it 100% has like definitely improved my mood,
Boost.
And even like I said, even if you're not a dancer or anything like that, like it's all just moves anybody can do. Also, he'll post videos of all the kids doing his dance videos.
I've seen some of the videos. I saw his story and he was like posting like everyone who did it. You see the kids and they're so into it. And I was like, look at these precious angels.
Entire families do it. And like, me and my roommate have done it several times. It's so much fun. It just, it's like, again, you want the dose of happy.
Like between 1,500 and 2,500 people watching the live story and doing it with him every day. Mm-hmm. Like it's a large group. So he's at MKIK808 on Instagram.
Oh,
cool.
That guy. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So join us and dance.
Come dance. Yeah, so that's my tip my top tip, because like even if you don't dance, watching him is also a joy. Like you will feel happiness after watching. But I also like did little things where it's like, I made 3 p.m. milk and cookies hour every day on my work day.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So it's just a time of my day to be like, get up, go have something like a sweet treat, change up your routine, like you need a snack then anyway. So like it was milk and cookies the first week. And then last week I made cupcakes, and who knows what I'll make this week. But even if it's like a piece of fruit,
awesome,
just something to like look forward to.
That's so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, ladies. I have to go because I have to have a Zoom meeting with my family.
Oh, say hello to your whole family. Thank you for joining.
Yeah. Sorry.
It was so lovely to see you.
It was so lovely to see you guys and talk with you guys. And you've really like made this hour spectacular. And I hope you continue your great conversation. But I'm going to go spread the joy to the rest of my family.
Please do.
Awesome. Spread that joy.
Bye, Kels.
I have like comfort pro tips that so the first is like a reading thing. So Ice Planet Barbarians is my comfort read by Ruby Dixon, and I haven't read the whole series because every time I read one I'm like I have to save the next one for like in case of emergency. And then I was like,
emergency.
Oh my god, we're in emergency. We are an emergency. But then I still like wasn't buying the next one that I hadn't read because I was like I don't know how long this is going to go on, so I'll just reread, and then if I feel like I need the next one, then it's like, okay, I still have it. And she has like 20 million books. So I'm fine. I've got time. Like we're good. But I've been rereading that. And then I also started reading book about it's the 4 horsemen, and they are paired with like human women, and the
the Philosopher series.
Yeah.
I thought that too.
Yeah, and so it's Pestilence is the first book, and I was like, this is now the time to read this, and it's been like really helping me because I'm like, Pestilence is just doing his job. Like he has one job. And it's disease. Like he can't help it, like that's just his thing. And so like, and also like his plague sounds way worse than what's happening. So I'm like, we're fine. And also Pestilence is going to he's going to catch feelings and have humanity, and then everybody will be healed. Yeah. Like it's totally fine. So that book is really helping me as like my spiritual zen of like, Pestilence is just going to pestilence. Like happens.
I love that.
I do want to say though, if anyone is listening and is thinking about reading it, that book has a lot of content and trigger warnings in terms of violence. Like there's a violence threshold that you kind of have to be ready for.
That part was not prepared. Me.
Yeah, I was not prepared.
Oh, it's the end times, which also I think is comforting me because I am like, in comparison, I feel okay. But yes, it's very violent.
Yes, I want to make sure to say that.
Don't read that if that's going to be a problem. But if you have a dark sense of humor and you're comforted by like weird comparisons, like I'm enjoying like sexy Pestilence. I don't know. I don't know why that's no other time would I be into it, but I'm like, I'm into sexy Pestilence right now.
Hey, I mean, that's awesome though. I liked that book a lot too.
Yeah. But then the other thing that I think is funny, because I'm like, how will I grow as a person during this time? Will I grow as a person? And I live near Battery Park, and my plant identification extends to flower versus tree versus bush, and that's like as deep level as I go. But now like I'm walking to the park and I'm like have a plant app and I'm taking photos and I'm like identifying their genus and their species, and like I'm now like an amateur botanist. And I'm like, this is a Turkish.
But that's such a good anxiety technique.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Such a good anxiety technique. It's going to help you identify like what are you looking at, what is happening, and I mean, like you were saying, I think it was with Zoe and Kelsey. You were talking about how all of the spring showed up at once.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm outside DC and the same thing happened. We had hardly any winter. Spring rolled up way early. Like you could see the pollen on the cars. If your car was blue, it is now green. Surprise. Just noticing the change of the seasons is so helpful. So what a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just a botanist now, and I downloaded a PDF from the Battery Park website. Yeah, I just am. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is a Turkish glory of the snow, but that is a Greek glory of the snow, just so you guys know. Okay.
Hair flip.
Yeah, but there's one tree that I cannot identify, and it's like, every time I take a picture of it, it tells me it's a dicot. And I don't know what a dicot is because I think it's like a super, super, like it's all many shrubs fall under that category. And so I can't.
Take that tree picture and put it on Reddit. There's a subreddit called What Plant Is This?
What plant is this? I was
in like
just thinking that.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm so out of the loop when it comes to plants.
Well, I mean,
she's a botanist now.
I'm a botanist now. I'm just a botanist now, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like guilty. I'm that person that like will kill a succulent. So it's, I wish that I could have more plants in my life. Like I do, but
I have killed every plant in my apartment, but outside someone else takes care of them. So I can identify.
That's a good point. Maybe this is a good trade-off, is that I can enjoy the plants and learn things, but also that's not my job.
Oh yeah. It's like someone else is the gardener and I'm just like get to be like, well, actually your plant.
I love that. I've been like, my like survival technique is like to try to keep things like as normal as possible. Like I know that that's not possible for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. But for me, I live off of like lists, like to-do lists, my calendar and everything. Like it gives me a sense of peace. And so I've been like making a list like once a week and just sort of like checking things off. And, you know, if they don't get checked off, they move on to the next list. So that's been kind of my way. And then watching a lot of things that I just, you know, haven't. I guess I've been more in a watching mood than a reading mood lately, which is weird. I feel like that's weird because like I read all the time, you know, for the podcast. And I have friends who are like, now I have opportunities to read for the first time in so long. And I have those opportunities too. And I've been doing a lot of rereading, but I think I'm at the point where I've kind of settled into quarantine a little bit. So I did download like 7 new books on my Kindle yesterday. So
Nice.
I'm ready to read.
That's awesome.
Sarah, what about you?
My technique is to do as much as possible, do what I feel like doing. If I feel like playing a video game, I'm going to go play a video game. If I feel like changing what we're having for dinner and making something much more comforting, I'm going to do that. If I make sure that I work out as much as I possibly can, like I try not to skip a workout. And if you would like a music recommendation, Dua Lipa's new album, Future Nostalgia, is
so good. So good.
Her whole goal was to make it like a jazzercise class. So it is perfect for
I would go to that class.
I would go to that class.
Okay.
It's so good.
So I was watching The Voice and she was one of the like coaches on it. And I was like, who is she? Like, I've never, ever heard of her. I was like, I'm sure I've like heard one of her songs, but like, because I don't even listen to the radio, I just listen to podcasts or Hamilton. I was like, who is this girl? But like jazzercise type 80s influenced a little bit. Like that is my jam. So
you're going to love this.
Have to check out her new album.
So good. And I don't listen to albums like start to finish. I have been listening to this on repeat just because it's so much fun. If it gets stuck in my head, I'm not annoyed. So Dua Lipa, Future Nostalgia is one thing. And then I also make sure that I take a walk every day. I have to walk my dogs anyway. And I'm allowed to do that. And we know the routes where we can go where we won't run into people. So I go outside for a walk every day. And it really helps me because I'm forced to slow down. And I can't do a lot of things while I'm walking. I just either, as I said during our seminar, when someone's listening to your podcast, they are also probably picking up poop because that's what people do when they walk their dogs. They're listening to podcasts. So I have the opportunity. Yeah, it's totally true. Podcast, poop bag. You have to have both. So I get to go out and walk and slow down and notice that, the world is continuing to grow and change and the trees are pretty and the pollen is everywhere. But I get outside, which is the other thing that I make sure, like bottom line, I do. And I'm also baking a lot, which is good because I have teenagers and then they eat all of the stuff, which is great because then I don't eat it all.
And like you mentioned with the whole dance being like a process to like process your what did you say, your anxiety or
process complete your stress cycle. It's from the movie or the book Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski.
I've read lots of really good things about how baking like makes you feel fantastic. And I know that it's hard to find some of the ingredients some places, but I mean, I've got a cake mix in the cupboard. So
see, I'll tell you one funny thing before we go. My neighbor, so we've all been texting each other on my street. Like, I'm going to Costco. I'm going to Safeway. What do you need? Can I get you something? Does anyone have this? And my neighbor, her brother was like, I can't find flour. I really want to bake and I cannot find flour. So her husband was at Costco. He's like, oh, I found flour. I think it's a 25-pound bag. She's like, okay, that's fine. We'll figure it out. And he's like, okay, sure. No problem. Brings home the flour and she goes out to the car and I hear, Sarah, do you need some flour? And I was like, not really. What's wrong? And I go over, it's a 50-pound bag of flour that he bought. It is as big as I am. It was massive. And she's like standing there with 2 bags of white powder. Like, that's not suspicious. She's like, do you want some flour? You can have some flour if you would like, because I have 50 pounds of flour. So now we are all baking on this street. Like, I'll give you sugar, you give me vanilla, but the flour, we're covered. We're totally covered. All of us had big bags of white powder on the porch. We're super cool here.
I have to say, if anything good has come out of this, I feel like there's definitely a great sense of community amongst a lot of people. Like, I know we read stories about people like rioting places too, but I feel like I've read so many more positive stories and like heard testimonies from people just about how everyone's being a lot more understanding because we're all in the same circumstances right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at us.
Here we are. The Frolic Podcast Network hanging out. Which I think is a good way to wrap it up, right? That we are here together, and now you've heard our lovely voices and want to listen to all our podcasts.
Obviously. All right. So starting with Laura, where can people find your podcast?
You can find me, Laura Von Holt, at the Mermaid Podcast at mermaidpodcast.com.
Awesome.
So easy.
Awesome. Kelly, what about you?
You can find Boobies and Noobies at Boobies Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. We've got a Facebook page, and I am launching boobiesandnoobies.com this month.
Yes. Okay.
I just want you to know when I was a guest on your show, it said on my calendar, hold boobies.
Aww.
Yes.
My husband was like, what are we doing? What's this
Hold
about?
them. Never let go.
Explain that one. Just hold them up. Zoe and Kelsey and Absentia, where can people find you?
We are Tea and Strumpets, and you can find us on our website, which is romancepod.com, or premium domain. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
On social media, we are at T as in Tom, N as in Nancy, Strumpets, Tea and Strumpets.
And if you don't remember all of that, you can also find all of us at frolic.media/podcast and find all the other podcasts that are in the network.
Yeah,
that's absolutely true.
Our Frolic
easy.
fam.
Yeah.
That's Sarah.
Sarah, go ahead. Sorry. Oh my God.
I'm at Smart Podcast. You can find Smart Podcast Trashy Books in any podcatcher, and I am always at smartbitchestrashybooks.com. Thank you, Laura.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for being part of my covert wartime network. So good.
And that brings us to the end of our 400th episode. Thank you to Laura Von Holt from the Mermaid Podcast, to Kelly from Boobies and Noobies, and to Zoe and Kelsey from Tea and Strumpets for hanging out and creating such a goofy episode. If you would like to find more excellent podcasts, I will have links to all of theirs, plus you can find the complete network at frolic.media/podcasts. I am curious what you are reading or doing or joke telling. What's getting you through? Please tell me. I would love to know. You can email me at sbjpodcast@gmail.com. I do love hearing from you because you guys have really great techniques for pretty much managing everything. I will have links to all of the books we talked about, all of the Instagram feeds. I found a whole thread on ranch dressing on pizza. This is more of a thing than I realized, and I feel like a whole new world has opened up to me. So I will have links to everything you need to know about that as well in the show notes at smartbitchestrashybooks.com/podcast. And as always, I end with a really bad joke. Now, it is a holiday weekend. It is Passover. It is about to be Easter. So here is your terrible, terrible joke. How does Jesus make coffee? How does Jesus make coffee? He brews it. Oh, dumb. On behalf of all of us, we wish you a very, very lovely weekend. Please stay safe and chill as much as possible. And as always, we wish you the very, very best of reading. Smart Podcast, Trashy Books, and all the other podcasts on this episode are part of the Frolic Podcast Network. You can find outstanding podcasts to subscribe to at frolic.media/podcasts.